Hello and welcome to another episode of Worlds of War Studios presents 5 and 15, where we show you 5 rounds of Warhammer 40k in just 15 minutes. Today's match will be between Adam's Tyranid invasion fleet and Chris's Orc warhorde. The mission for today's match is taken from the Pariah Nexus mission pack. The deployment zone is Tipping Point. The mission secondary rule is Raise Banners, where at the end of each turn, any player that has a battle line unit on objective will plant a banner, scoring them 1 victory point. The primary mission for today's match is Take and Hold. At the end of each player's command phase, or at the end of the turn for the last turn of the game for the player who is going second, each player will score 5 victory points for each objective they control, to a maximum of 15 victory points per turn. 4 secondary objectives. Each of our players have chosen to go with fixed secondaries, with Chris choosing Engage on all fronts, which will score him points for each unit he has in each table quarter at the end of his turn, and Bring It Down, which will score points for every monster or vehicle unit that he kills during the course of the game. Adam has also chosen Engage on all fronts, and he has chosen Assassination as his other secondary, which will score him points for each character he kills during the course of the game. Good luck to each of our players, and let's see who can pull out a win today.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is Chris here, of course, bringing my orcs to the table this time. I got first turn. As you can see, I definitely was trying to keep my stuff hidden just in case the Tyranids got first turn, the big stinky bugs that they are. They're always a good fight, even if they have the worst loot in the galaxy. But, honestly, some of my motivations for this game, that we're doing here, trying to be competitive, but at the same time, I'm really trying to find a good balance for orcs right now in the place they are in the codex, because even though they just got a points refixing, I guess, after the changes the last time, I feel like they've just been struggling hard to find a good list. So I've gone back to my the warhorde. I think that's honestly one of the better ones, just because it allows me to use whatever units I want and everybody gets a bonus. But really also my first turn was just to try to move up here, get in a position I could do something on turn 2, because I didn't want to call the wall on turn 1, since now I only get it once because I'm not doing bully boys, and to hopefully weather the shooting from Adam.
Yeah, one big thing I'm trying to do here is really try to take out as much as I possibly can in shooting. Right there, I destroyed a truck, and Chris is really follow this turn with getting his Careen rolls. Careen lets him move the truck before it explodes.
Not Careen rolls, the Careen stratagem. Here's the beauty of it. I had not really bothered to use it before because I hadn't played Warhorde in a long time, and I found out how effective it can be when your truck blows up, that you get to do a normal movement for 1 command point before it blows up. And it was hilarious, and I love it, and it's about as orky as you can possibly get.
I feel like with Invasion Fleet, one thing I've done here is I've got that unit of Termagants in the front, and one big thing I've done here is utilize that unit to sort of screen Chris's charge against a lot of my more important models. Chris's army, if orcs touch you, they just rip apart whatever they touch into. They're kind of tissue paper a lot of times coming back, except for Mazrog and his squad. But they will just tear apart anything that they touch into.
Yeah, that wall of little weedy targets was really annoying. I couldn't climb over them to get to the real targets.
Yeah, and it was a little bit effective here. I made Chris take a channel that he had to go through. He got into my Hive Tyrant, but Chris wasn't in the wall yet, so the Hive Tyrant was able to survive this melee and strike back and kill most of the squad that Chris took into me. A nice little crackback for me, but it's a really hard fight.
Yeah, I definitely in the future would have made a different play.
And at the end of turn 1, scoring is low. Chris has scored 1 point on Raise Banners. Adam has managed to score 1 point on Raise Banners and 2 points on Engage on all fronts, making the score 3-1. Very low scoring game for the first turn. Let's see how we do in turn 2. Okay, so going into turn 2, I think I had a fairly successful first turn. Trish trying to take away a little bit of Chris's power coming into me. Chris getting that unit into combat on the first turn was pretty strong with that Careen. I was able to charge him, take away a lot of it, but I still think he did some good work there.
Well, I really hurt your Hive Tyrant, so I really weakened him so that when I had to fight him later, it wasn't so bad.
Yep. Now those Gaunts, unless Chris can do something in shooting here, the Gaunts are going to do exactly what I wanted them to do, which is block Mozrog's squad from getting into the real meat of my army with those Zoanthropes and the Hive Tyrant. And the Gaunts do exactly what they're supposed to do against an army that shoots like orcs do.
Hey, orc shooting is great. It's loud and obnoxious, and that's exactly what I needed to do. But as far as gameplay goes, yeah, it was really, really frustrating having to try to chew through a wall of gaunts with melee on, in my melee phase, so I could not get to the big things behind them that do the real damage. Luckily, I did have some flamethrowers, but he kept handing out this feel no pain that was driving me up the wall.
Yeah, I think
it kept the gaunts from dying, and I'm telling you, the flamethrowers should have annihilated them, and instead they just kept on keeping on.
Between the Feel No Pain and the 6-up Invulnerable save from the Zoanthropes, I think Invasion Fleet is probably still our strongest detachment, even though it's the detachment from the Codex. The Index. It's the detachment we started off with, but
that's what I'm using, man. Warhorde is probably the strongest detachment right now for orcs, in my opinion, and it's the Index detachment because they neutered the other two that were any good.
Yeah. Now, Tyranids are having some success with the other detachments. Tyranids are right now they're in a pretty good state as an all-around pretty good army. They have a couple of detachments that do fairly well. But I think Invasion Fleet overall is the best, even though I would really love to be playing Assimilation Swarm a little bit more often with their regeneration tactics.
Yeah, the only advantage I had here when I was trying to melee was I think I was able to get Mozrog's unit into your guy. I had to multi-charge, but I was able to go around because I was able to get rid of enough of the little guys that he was able to get to your big boy. Yeah.
Yeah, he was able to.
I will tell you, my opponent did give me a little help, reminding me that I should fight with one unit before I fought with Mozrog, so that Mozrog could scooch in some more, which did not help him at all. Which did not help you at all.
No, Mozrog, he's so threatening. I think Mozrog is one of the best units. Mozrog with his boys there are probably one of the best units in the Orc Codex right now. They're just absolutely solid in most detachments that you can take for them.
I mean, they should be at what is it, close to 500 points. It's like 480 something points for the unit. Yeah, I mean, it's 9 models for almost 500 points. For Orcs, that's expensive.
Now, I did make a big mistake here. I had a unit of, down at the bottom, there was a unit of Neurotropes that I fought with before the Hive Tyrant, because I'm an idiot and forgot that I had the Hive Tyrant in combat. So that lets you take some wounds off of the Hive Tyrant on your turn.
Oh, that's right.
Set me back a bit. Yep.
Yeah. But
here I'm lining up. I couldn't get my. I didn't have enough room to get that Haruspex in. I had a Haruspex in reserve and didn't have enough room to get him in the bottom of the table there. So really at this point, I'm just trying to shoot and weaken up units enough that I can take some things out with some charges and still live through it.
Now, I will say one thing that really helped you out here, even though in the end it didn't help you much on this turn, is as much as you are feared of Mozrog's ability and the fact that he does extra damage. I just remember here my Squighog boys really punishing whatever the big thing is that I charged. I forgot what it's called.
That's Malrope.
And then Mozrog literally, for the first time ever, completely and utterly whiffed. I think, didn't I fail to wound you altogether?
Yeah, I think I had to make like 1 or 2 saves, but he's got a 4-up invuln, so he weathered that storm pretty well.
But I remember that I only wounded you like twice when I had like 11 attacks, because I was in my live, and it was just like, okay, let's just miss with everything.
Another thing with Mozrog is that squad is cavalry, and this detachment is set up specifically to have advantages against infantry or characters or vehicles, and I get no bonuses against cavalry, so it makes it a pretty hard match. But we can see,
but my movement is also just so much more restricted with cavalry.
Yep, but I mean, we can see here I charged in that combat. I think you took out the Hive Tyrant here on this turn because I was weakened from the previous one.
Each of our players managed to score points for both their primary and secondary objectives. Adam did a little bit better, taking a slight lead over Chris with a total score at the end of turn 2 of Chris with 18 points and Adam with 23 points. Very close, still anyone's game. Let's see how we do in turn 3.
So here on turn 3, I've definitely got some decisions to make. I've lost a lot of my knobs. I've got a war boss out in the open, but I still have Mozrog's unit. Mozrog's unit has been doing some. At least he's not dying, and he's eating a lot of firepower coming in from the Tyranids. And Tyranids don't have like Space Marine firepower. They've got a lot, but not that level. So, but I've lost a lot of dudes. But but I've gotten rid of all the chaff. Now it's just the meat of the army I'm going after.
One big thing that's really been threatening Chris here in the first couple of turns is the flamer profile, basically, that the Neurotyrant has. It's extremely threatening against an army like Chris's when you've got a 2 damage flamer and he's trying to get in on charges with some not the greatest saves in the world.
Well, that's actually like, if you guys will even notice, I don't know if anybody's seen, but on the objective in the upper left-hand corner, there's a unit of 10 jump boys that literally started the game basically on that objective and never moved again, because as soon as I move out, that Neurotyrant will literally delete them. And it is so hard to deal with because it has an 18-inch threat range in Overwatch with auto hits at 2 damage and like AP -1, meaning I get a whopping 6-up save.
And it's 2d6 shots, so there is the possibility. It's unlikely, but there is the possibility they can take out a squad of 10 infantry in one Overwatch.
Yeah, so I just had to really try to get rid of that Neurotyrant, and that Neurotyrant's kind of like trying to get rid of Mozrog. You got to chew through a lot of multi-wound models to get to it.
Yeah, the Zoanthropes are, ever since they made the change that the Zoanthropes could be a bodyguard for them, it's pretty monumental. I think anyone running Zoanthropes needs to have a Neurotyrant, and I think anyone running a Neurotyrant needs to have a unit of Zoanthropes. They're all just, I think, really effective for their points.
Yeah, and on this turn, I was just trying to kill as many big things as I could, honestly. I know it seems simple, but that's kind of what I was trying to do, was just kill the big things. And really, honestly, trying to take your home objective. Because with our new tokens that we're making, luckily I was able to remember and mark the objectives I've raised banners on and that I owned. Since, which I didn't really have many because I didn't really have any boys to have sticky objectives. But, being able to just sit on several objectives and keep pushing you out of them was really helpful.
Yeah, one thing with this turn, at the beginning of the turn, I did my Shadow of the Warp to try and get some mortal wounds off here. Chris had to take the movement back on his truck because we had forgotten it was battle shocked and that he couldn't use a stratagem on it. So we had to take that back thanks to the battle shock. But the Tyranids are probably the only army where battle shock can be something that's really effective. I've had times of having those Zoanthropes just battle shock an entire enemy army and just absolutely wreck with the amount of mortal wounds they deal out with battle shock.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's other armies that try to use battle shock, but normally it's really, really bad. Chaos Knights, where it's basically worthless to have that ability. But here it did affect me because I had units I couldn't move, like even the Storm Boys. I was finally going to get to move them, and then remembered I wouldn't have gotten engaged on all fronts because I had my Grots that were battle shocked in the back, and I had to leave them there so I could keep my engagement on all fronts. So when I finally was going to get to move them, I couldn't.
Battle shock's really only useful, I feel like, if you can use it during your opponent's turn. There are so many units where you battle shock something in your own shooting phase or your own fight phase, and your opponent's just going to recover immediately. It's kind of rough. I think they need to change the mechanic, but we've talked about that before, and we'll see what they do here, maybe in a balanced data slate, or maybe an 11th edition in probably a year and a half when that happens.
True. Yeah.
And Chris's turn 3 fared just a little bit better for him than Adam's did for him. Chris scored slightly higher on the turn, giving him a new total score of 43 points. Adam with a total score of 34. So Chris taking a lead at the end of turn 3.
So going into turn 4, I'm a little bit behind here on this turn. There's some stuff I really need to do. This is our first time using secret objectives. I haven't used them in a game before. This is a game where I really needed it. I wasn't scoring the primary points, so definitely went for a secret objective here on this turn.
Yeah, I felt like I was pretty commanding on keeping those primary points from you getting them, except for your one big guy over there that I just ignored and was like, you can have that objective, I'm not getting it.
I feel like orcs are pretty good at forcing your opponent into their home objective. This is why, as Tyranid players, we use a lot of the Biovores with the Spore Mines to engage in all fronts and those things. And Lictors and Neurolictors are things that have been really popular a lot just because there are so many armies out there that'll really hem you in.
Yeah, definitely. Also, you know what's really, really good at taking out Neurotyrant or Neurogants is orcs with flamethrowers. The thing is, you have to remember to actually shoot them.
Yeah, you forgot every turn to shoot those Neurogants.
Look, I was being nice. I wanted to let them survive to the end of the game to, I don't know, help me collect loot or something.
Yeah, we both got engaged on all fronts in that corner each turn because of those.
Yeah, because I kept forgetting to shoot stuff.
Yeah.
I sat here and used Mozrog's unit to take your home objective away from you, and then you kept having to slam units into me to try to get me off of it, which just fed me more guys to kill. Although there's boys dying over there, I see.
Yeah.
They moved once and sat there until they died.
Yeah, but you know what? They held that objective for you for a while, and if you
did, I got paid for that objective 3 times with them on it.
Yeah, you would have lost it if you only had the Grots there, thanks to their low leadership. And Shadow in the Warp.
And also being able to use the command points. I'm going to mention this real quick. Those Grots got me, 3 command points this
Chris
game?
Chris is doing well in his turn 4, maxing out his primary points, getting 15 for take and hold. He gets 4 on engage in all fronts. Adam, meanwhile, gets 5 for take and hold, and also 4 on engage in all fronts. At the end of the turn, Chris is leading with 62 to 43. Adam has decided to take a secret mission, as he cannot score more than 20 points with take and hold. By taking a secret mission, this will be the last turn that he scores points for the primary objective.
Okay, so for the final turn, obviously I score my objectives at the beginning, so I bang out my 10. Really, my goal is to try to kill any more big ones to kill the big ones, because I don't know what Adam's secret objective is, because I am leading by 19 points, but, I don't know at the time because I'm not really paying attention to that part. I'm just trying to do my thing.
Pretty typical final turn of a game, not a whole lot to do. My secret objective was one where if Chris doesn't have any battle line units outside of his deployment zone, I get the secret objective, and Chris left his 1 battle line unit back there. Other than the one I killed, the other one is back there.
Well, the other one died on turn 1.
Yeah, it did.
2, something like that, yeah.
It died very early on. I do manage to kill Mozrog here to finish getting all the points I can get for kill characters. Pretty tight game. No,
that's right. You finally killed Mozrog. I think it's the first time you've killed Mozrog. And it's the first time you've killed my Mozrog.
First game ever I've killed him.
Yeah.
For the last turn of the game, Chris still scored quite well, scoring 10 points for take and hold, 2 for engage on fronts, and 6 for raise banners. Adam did accomplish his secret mission, scoring 20 points. He also scored his full 4 points for engage on all fronts and 4 points for assassination, leaving us with a final score of Chris with 88 and Adam to 81 after paint score. Tight game today, very close. Great game between the Orcs and Tyranids.
So, it's the first time I've played my orcs in a while, and especially since the points drop happened, which didn't really affect my army much. But I just want to see what they were doing, because they've been kind of in a rough patch since they, got nerfed pretty hard when their codex was doing really well. I think Warhorde is still probably my favorite detachment at the moment, just because I'm not limited in what units I can bring, because they all get advantages with the sustained hits 1, which is really useful.
Yeah, sustained hits 1 is extremely useful. That's what was powering my army for most of the game, was sustained hit 1s against infantry.
It was pretty brutal, because I only had 1 unit outside my trucks that wasn't infantry, which was the unit you had the most trouble killing. Yeah, definitely. That sustained hits 1 is definitely brutal. But it was a really close game. I had a lot of fun playing it. There were definitely moments of wanting to chuck my dice because they didn't want to cooperate, but there were moments where I was like, I felt bad because my dice just were crushing. So
I wanted to chuck your dice because they wouldn't cooperate.
Well, they were
all out.
You, but
good game, Chris.
Yeah, all in all, great game. And you know what? Honestly, guys, if you enjoy our content, enjoy our videos, we're definitely a small channel right now. I'd love your subscription, to share the video, let your friends know, and check out our Etsy site. It's Worlds of War Studios, one word. We sell a lot of cool tokens and items to help your gameplay go faster. And
link in the description.
Yeah, link in the description, but also next time, guy. Until next time, have a great day.